Hello and welcome to episode 12 of our Timberborn Update 7 Iron Teeth Project 1K playthrough here in Cycle 16, Day 5. 2.5 days left until we have a bad tide coming in. But not to worry, because we are perfectly positioned with a whole lot of water and a whole lot of food for our 55 beavers. So don't have to worry about the bad tides at all. The only thing that is going to be a concern for us is, can we still generate power? And the answer to that question is yes, because this is of course going to be a bad tide, but also we're only 92 metal blocks away from having the bad water discharge complete. Obviously, it's going to take time, and we're going to allow it to continue to accumulate those blocks while we work on other things. And up here, of course, our diversion has been perfectly fine for quite a long time. No need to have any concerns there. So today's goals, I think, are going to need to be focused around doing something with all of the wood that we have. We have 1,200 stored, and we have all these trees that cannot be harvested, which means they're not growing additional wood. And a lot of you guys have had some really good ideas about what to do with stuff, and one of the ones I really liked was to go ahead and just build the full height of this dam here, which we can do without placing the single pieces. I know that was a very frustrating thing for a lot of you guys, but we have all the ability here. Let's just go ahead and well, I guess I kind of hemmed myself in here, but I can go ahead and take these stairs out. We don't need to worry about those. I'm going to go ahead and relocate this campfire. Just get rid of it. And what we're going to do up here, we have 1900 science. I think it's worth it to go ahead and unlock the 6x1 suspension bridge. But also, we can and should consider the metal platforms too. I know we're trying to save metal for the purpose of putting in the bad water discharge, but consider this. We don't have the 3000 science yet, but 12 metal blocks, 36 planks, 36 logs. We have a bunch of wood now. That's not a problem. If we do this, then obviously I can't place this right now because we don't have the stuff unlocked, but you can put these on top of each other and just have stairs or whatever going up, and you can have this entire back area. It's going to look really stupid. It's going to look silly, but the game lets you do it, and therefore that's a valid thing we can try. But I think that might be the smart thing to do in terms of, getting everything done at once. So I'm going to let the science accumulate a little bit more, but in the meantime, we do have the ability to go ahead and just place a few levees here and there that they can get started working on. And a bunch of you asked about this. Yes, completing the path across the dam. Should have done that a long time ago. Now that's taken care of. And then right here as well, you see all these things that aren't planted here? This is a great opportunity for us to have a path that connects everything. And let's be honest, we have so much of this stuff, I don't need to worry about it anyway. We'll just demolish that. This will be nice and connected, and that will help sort out a whole bunch of stuff for our beavers to take care of. Again, lots and lots and lots of stuff to get to today. We're going to do our best to get this into triple speed and just try to make as much progress as we can without dragging things out. That has been a topic of discussion in, well, the comments. And I'm going to do my best to not waste you guys' time. I know this has the potential to be a 100-episode series, but I don't want to do 100 episodes of this. Like, maybe 50 is even a lot. But I digress. We'll get there soon. We're going to let this get to the 3000 science, and then we'll start putting stuff in here. But aside from that, we do need to get some more beavers in here, which I know instead of putting additional breeding pods, we're focusing on getting the well-being up. There's multiple reasons for that. I did respond to at least 1 or 2 comments about that strategy being the way to go. Because remember, we get the bonuses here for working speed, travel speed, and lifespan. So why not? It's just better for the beavers. So we've done a pretty good job with the food. The social life campfire obviously is going to be a problem because that has to be on actual dirt. But it's not really that big of a deal, I don't think. The frog statue being the +4 is tremendous. That has helped us out quite a lot. And we also, of course, can put in these other decorations. And the lanterns are already there. Just little things piece by piece will make a big, big difference. And also, don't forget, we have the, well, I can't mouse over this because I'm in a different dialog box, but we have the extract, which means we can have the detailer going. That's a pretty simple thing. The scratcher too, just little things. Little, quick, simple things that will benefit all the beavers at a minimal cost. That is what it's about anyway. So I'm just going to put a scratcher there. Real dead simple thing for us to be doing. Little things, bit by bit, as we can. And now we can get this thing hooked up here. That is looking tremendous. See, look how much better the pathing looks. The only red is over here, and, well, it was already red over here. And, of course, the district center is in the corner. It's probably going to get moved toward the center once we start stacking things. But don't forget other stuff that we talked about with regard to science unlocks. I did say something about the tunnels. And I'm going to clear it up more when we actually get into that, but just know, we have the science for the tunnels now. I'm not going to start them now because I do think it's more important to have actual construction projects. So we will wait for that to say 3,000 and start doing all that nonsense. But we're going to get into tunnels today as well. Tons of stuff to get done with that. And I am feeling really, really good about it. So other things you guys mentioned in the comments. We do have the issue of some of this little bit of backup here. And I think probably the best way to handle this, just to hit pause real quick, this is a little bit of a bottleneck here. And so is this. Of course, on top of this, we have the smelter we're currently using. But this block right here could very easily go ahead and be turned into a, well, not a block. So this can flow a little bit less restricted. And then, of course, this here, it's probably not really that big of an issue, but more capacity on the edge of the map is always a good thing. I'm not going to take it out yet because we're still waiting to use all of this metal. But just know I am thinking about that stuff, and I do always appreciate you guys having your ideas ready to go. These are, just to be sure, set correctly. That's looking good. And yes, I am still manually putting these in 2 at a time until I can get something done with the rest of that, just so we're not wasting any time here. But everything is looking fantastic. Bad tide has started. There is no flooding. This will continue because we have our dams in place here. This will not backfill with bad water, which that was a problem very early in the series, but this is still looking good. And our power output is going to be slightly reduced. We do see that here. So let's take a quick look at what we might be able to pause. I know we have the food factory for the eggplants paused. We have 932 of those. That's totally fine. You see, planks-wise, we're actually looking really good, but I already have both of those paused. Dynamite is still kind of an important thing. I obviously am not going to pause the number cruncher yet, so I guess... Oh, hey, this one isn't prioritized by haulers. That will automatically solve all of those problems. All right, well, you know what? That's going to lead me into this next thing. I know it's a non sequitur. It doesn't actually directly lead, but you understand how my brain works at this point. There was, at one point, a tooth grindstone that I deleted, and I did not put back. I thought I had. I didn't do it, so now let's fix it. Because we have a couple beavers that are sitting there wishing they could grind their teeth, but there is no tooth to grind on a stone. There's no stone to grind a tooth on, etc., so on and so forth. Misplaced modifiers would be the death of me, but I digress. I haven't diagrammed descendants since 2003? 2004? I don't know. A long time ago. But I digress. That's going to fix that problem. We have 19 days bad tide to get the science to unlock, or not the science, the metal to finish this. We have 59 here. I'm going to keep some of those metal blocks in reserve, again, for this thing we're talking about doing up here, which of course is waiting on a little bit more science. I originally, a couple minutes ago, was going to say, hey, we need to put in some other stuff over here, but I realized I don't have space for it yet. So that is going to be something that will come in due time. We can, however, because we have space here, kind of make this process suck a little bit less. And that is, we need warehouses for the different types of food that are going to be dealt with over here. This right here is fermenting cassavas. This is fermenting soybeans. Oh, the canola oil is out. That needs to be turned back on. Okay, we can spare that. But if you take a look at our storage here, I have cassavas here, but this one's making soybeans. So this would make much more sense to have the raw soybeans in it. This doesn't... Oh, thanks, email client. I guess I forgot to turn that off again. This one can be for both sides of the cassavas, just because that's closer to this, and it is what it is. Little bits and pieces, one thing at a time, I guess is probably fine. This is now eggplants, which I guess we have both of these here. Like, it's not terrible, but it could be better. And as we start restructuring stuff over here, We can put production on top of storage. We can put production on top of housing. A bunch of good ideas you guys have had. We're gonna do what we can with what we got in the time that we are able to make use of all of that stuff. So seeing how this is progressing now, remember I do want to have this go up as high as possible, just so we have as much water stored as we can. We are going to start the process of moving all of this stuff back one more slot. So if I take that out, and then put the large pile here, facing that way, then that, of course, is going to store scrap metal. That can go right there. That's looking fine. And then all of this is going to be squared off in this general location here. Of course, it will come when it does, and that's fine. I'm just trying to make as much use out of this as we can. We still have plenty of runes here. We have some over here, so we're not in danger mode yet with the efficient mine, but we do need to make sure at some point that we get that unlocked before we need it, or else bad things are going to happen to us. But we just about have 3,000 science. In fact, it has just crossed over. So let's go ahead, get that metal platform overhang 6x1 unlocked. And this is where I'm going to start all of that nonsense. And yes, friends, it is absurd, but in my opinion, that is part of what makes this game really, really fun, is, you know, exploiting what it allows us to do, even if it seems kind of stupid, because let's be honest, it definitely is. But hey, this is a game about talking bipedal beavers who have inherited the Earth after humans all died off. Look, there's a little bit of suspension of disbelief you have to be willing to tolerate here. But we'll go ahead and get that popped in there. This will very easily get connected to all of this, and we will need to have storage up here, which, hey, guess what? Log storage, perfect location. Well, as perfect as you can reasonably get. To have one for receiving here. And now what that's going to allow us to do is, first off, I can take this out. I'm going to take all of these paths out so we can place stuff on top. Make sure we're only deleting the paths, which is a thing that is possible. I'm going to hit pause just so the stupidity does not spread, but I'm going to put... I don't know why I had to pause for that. I thought I was going to do something else. I'm going to put these two levees in here, which is going to stop the beavers from getting on top of this nonsense. Oh yeah, we have an opportunity for B for boom. All right, take care of that. Explosives are also in the process of filling up, so I am going to continue placing all sorts of stuff here that should be reachable by just about everybody. You know, it's a process. It always is, but one piece at a time. We'll let them take care of that. Once these are in place, I will prioritize... Well, actually, I just have to prioritize the bottom one. That can get done. And then I'm going to have this go super high up to match this height here. And then they can just build that at their leisure. Or if they want to do it all at once, that's fine too. We're going to be okay. Everything's going to be just fine. So, I guess I don't need to have this paused to pop all of this in. Just trying to do what I can with what I got at the time that I have available for it. So, just get those popped in there. We will not be sitting here watching them build this. We have plenty of other stuff to do. But just so we're all on the same page. This is a super efficient and pretty satisfying way to build this giant stack of stuff here. And then, of course, we can continue going about our business with other stuff. All right, 229 science. Remember, we do have currently all of the metal blocks to complete the bad water discharge, but I'm going to let them build the rest of this, which will not take all of that. But if I go ahead and unpause this, they're just going to go ahead and put 98 in there, and then I have 119, so that should be enough to get them at least kind of started there. So, where does that leave us now after all we've talked about? We do have to wait a little bit of time for some of the science to come up before we can do tunnel stuff, but there are still little bits and pieces of things that we can improve. Start thinking about what's going to make the most sense. I do like the idea of having this area be industrial because we have all the bad water here, but like I said, we need to have space to store the food. We need to have stuff on top of that storage, and it needs to be all connected, set up in a way that's going to make sense. This does mean, ladder fans, rejoice. I think the time is here for us to unlock and start using the ladders. We've accomplished a lot with just regular stairs, and we should be pretty happy with that. But I did say at the start of this thing when I said we're going to have as much time spent with the just regular stairs as we can. I did say eventually the ladders were going to come back, and it is fun to try to play without those, but let's be honest, the time is here. The time is now, so they're unlocked. We're going to start incorporating them, but I thought what might make sense to do is to get a large storage for all of the foods and all the stuff that we're making over here and try to focus things on producing them sustainably. So we have this space here. We have 3 wide. I guess I could zoom in, but the sounds are annoying. 3 wide here. I'd like to continue this path straight the way across here so that's a direct connection, which is going to mean we either take out these wheels or we go over them. But, keep in mind the amount of wood that we're storing and growing stuff now, we could probably start making more of a switch over to engines without much problem. But it is going to be a process that is not going to be stupendously quick. We all need to be on board with that. But if we can agree that that's going to be fine, then we'll be okay. This is actually finished. I don't remember this looking like this. Hold on. Okay, no, that's just the little things in the corner. All right, so that's fine. That's never going to be a problem ever again. We don't have to worry about it. They're working on this. We still have enough metal. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about that. But just so we don't have a tremendous amount of problems here, I'm going to super deprioritize this. It's in here, but I'm going to super deprioritize it, and then we'll have them work on some other stuff instead, just to kind of prioritize things. But for the sake of my sanity, single speed. Let's start by ripping out this whole side here and just rebuilding. Now keep in mind, eventually this is going to be completely redone again, but we're so far away from that now we don't have to worry about wasting our time doing this. It's going to be a couple more episodes at the very least before we can really do a lot of terraforming, and I have more to talk about that later. But we're not using this food factory right now. We do have the canola oil ready to go, so I'm going to go ahead and say this is gone, this is gone, all of this is gone. This storage is for scrap metal and regular metal blocks. That's gone. That's gone. We have an absolute mess over here, but it's going to be okay. Don't worry, friends. Everything will be just fine. So, now that is gone. That is gone. We have 3 wide space up to here. Now that we have this going all the time, we can continue moving stuff in more advantageous places. And while this is out, let's go ahead. Like I said, remember, everything's connected. It all matters. Get this dynamite in place, explode it, and then that's going to significantly help the outflows here. Just have to wait for them to take care of that. B for boom, or I can just click it. That works too. Good. Now this has a platform in place, which means we can build on top of it. And based on the power consumption on our adjusted stuff, things are looking fine. Remember that this is all connected here, and this is all connected here. There's nothing joining them yet. We will get there. It's going to be okay. These will be gone. That will be gone. Now we have the 3 wide. We have the 4 wide all the way through to here. Just very, very simply put that there. This will be where the path goes. Straight the way through here. Get those paths out. Nice and simple here. That is a platform that can go away. That is a path that can go away. Now we are all set, good to go. If I take my large warehouse and I measure out, just so they can, get an idea here. Having this at this exact positioning is not really super ideal, and I don't think it would be much of a benefit to move it all the way to the corner, or to have this moved over one spot here. This does line up with the stairs. We did unlock the ladders. I do have that available. But we have a what's the word I'm looking for? I think we're going to have an okay time just having a bunch of storages right here. without it being all the way into the corner. Remember, it's all going to get ripped out anyway. It's going to be fine. We don't need to worry about anything. So while we're paused, and I don't have to listen to these water wheel sounds constantly, let's think about what has to go in these storages, what's going to be put up on top of here for industrial processes. Food factories, 3x3, fit very easily, very nice on top of this. If we want, remember we have storage for the actual food over here. That's going to stay there. That's fine. But if we want to do things efficiently for the workers, what makes sense is to have the raw foods here where they can be processed. So assuming we're going to have the food factories, one each, raw corn, raw eggplant, and then on top, you got that guy and that guy set for corn rations and eggplant rations. We're not in algae yet. So what does that leave us for here in terms of raw foods? We have cassavas, we have soybeans, and then outside of that, that is the only raw food we're currently dealing with. We also have canola seeds that are going to be a concern. So that's fine there. And food-wise, there's nothing else we really need to have over here in a large storage. So what's going to make sense to put here is instead of that, we can put in 2 of these large industrial piles, which I'm going to have logs for engines. And then also we have planks, because you can never have too many storages for those. And now up here, like I said, food factory corn rations, eggplant rations. We can come over here with our fermenters. Very, very easily popped up like this. We have cassavas. We have more cassavas. We have soybeans. And then an oil press is going to have somewhere to go. So you know what? Actually, we could get ourselves into a little bit of mischief here, depending on how we want to lay these things out. I think it might make more sense for us to have like this, and then right here, because this is a space that is going to be doing the soybeans, get that put in, get that put in. This oil press will be pressing oil that will go directly into these things, so that works tremendously well. That works tremendously well there. And then we can even have a little tank right there for some canola oil. And then we don't really need a little tank here, but this would be a great place to put a little warehouse for cassavas. Or the fermented ones is what I meant to say. So then this could be marked as a supply. This, of course, marked as obtain, 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 obtain. How many times am I going to say obtain? So on and so forth. So this is all in the general area that is going to make sense in which to have it. Now what we have to do is we have to get this stuff connected with, well, the paths are already there, and then we have to have the upper level here. So what I think is going to make sense is to do one of these numbers here, and then in strategic locations, put in ladders like we talked about, which they have been slightly reworked. The mod has, so now they don't conflict with paths. You just have to have stuff actually connected. So that'll work nicely there. This is also going to be replaced with a ladder there. Now that is connected. And I think that's going to be a very, very, very good starting point, except we don't have power yet. And we have space up here to put a couple of other things. Like I said, this is in the corner. That's going to be fine. This does still have to be connected up here. So this bit in the corner, well, not quite in the corner, is probably going to make the most sense to put in. That is a triple. That is not a double. That's going to go there just fine. And then that, of course, has already been connected, so that's good. We have room up here to either start messing with stuff like, say, coffee brewing, or I could put an engine in the corner and then something else right here. But I do think, food-wise, it's going to make sense to get into this sooner rather than later. I'm going to leave a space open for coffee brewing. And then I do recognize that this is quote-unquote dead space, but remember, it's not going to be here forever. It's going to be okay, folks. Going to be just fine. So this engine will go in the corner. That will be built, and then for the time being, this will be connected with just a regular power shaft. Let them do what they got to do. Things are in a little bit of disarray here, but it's okay. We got tons of food. We got tons of water. Minimal issues, and then we can start migrating the rest of this stuff in due time. This engine will not power all of this. I do recognize that. That is fine. That is just the way it goes. Everything will be okay. Now, the other stuff that you may have missed is, or I may have missed telling you about, yes, this engine cannot connect to anything else because it is in the corner. This does not mean that we're going to have problems over here, because remember, power can be transferred away from these guys on these front and side faces. So what that's going to allow us to do is, without messing up anything else that is currently here, we can come out the front with a regular power shaft and then come up like that, which is going to connect us directly into the side of this, which will connect everything else with the exception of this over here. But don't worry, we have other opportunities to fix this as well, which we will definitely take advantage of in due time. So they're going to take care of that. Not too much else has happened over here. That's totally fine. I'm going to, out of respect for your time, go ahead and time-lapse most of the rest of the construction of this thing right here, and we will link back up with each other once that is complete, and we're going to hopefully have the science at that point to start doing tunnels. Alright, so now this is complete, more or less, and we have plenty of storage for most things that we probably are going to be producing over here for quite some time. Now, power-wise, this is all connected to here. I did take out this other engine because currently the only thing this is really powering is the number cruncher, and then we also have the smelter over here, and we also have these wheels. So currently, how this is set up, everything's working just fine. I don't think we have any cause for concern. Looks like everything is going to be okay. We just don't have a lot of soybeans right now, which is, I guess, probably the fault of us not having planted enough. There's also none over here at all in this. So we need more farmland, which is convenient, because now, guess what, friends? We have 3,400 science. Look at these guys. Look at these guys going the I'm not a structural engineer, but like something about point loads at like this spot right here. I don't think that's going to hold up. I don't think that's going to hold up that well. But let's go ahead and unlock tunnels, and let's have a chat about these. As I talked several episodes back about my strategy for trying to grow stuff on multiple levels. This is the base of the map. We can't do anything with that. We have 1, 2, 3 spots here that will need to be open for us to have trees on the bottom level. So what I was proposing that we do is take this out, this entire corner of the map, which we're not going to have. I'm just going to hit pause for my sanity here. We're not going to use tunnels to blow up everything under here. I know that was a concern some people had. What will work, though, is we have the tunnels in. I'm going to take some of these out in a second, but we have the tunnels in here, and then once they're in place, because everything is currently going to be supported correctly, we can just come back in with regular dynamite and blast all the way down. Of course, with the doubles, we can go ahead and research as well. But that's going to be a lot cheaper and a lot less time-consuming than just putting tunnels absolutely everywhere. So to illustrate what we're going to be doing, I'm going to peel back to this layer. This is layer 2. This is layer 1. This is layer 0. So the layer that displays on layer 0 is the last one we can actually interact with. There is a layer underneath it, but that's just how this goes. That's just how this goes. So layer 2, layer 3 is this layer. Layer 2 is what most of this is actually on, but this shows up as layer 3 because blah 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 blah. So this is what we're working with. This goes basically all the way throughout this entire thing. If we support it effectively on this level, then we're going to be in good shape. So what I'm going to end up doing is, I think for the benefit of what we are trying to do here, I'm going to have this first row be entirely exposed to the outside, this row being entirely exposed as well, and then I'm going to start with this being a column, so we're not going to put anything there. We'll go over 4, skip 1, go over 4, skip 1, go over 4, skip 1, go over 4. That is going to be our first column right here. And if we take this back up to layer 3, you'll notice these two right here are already technically open. Now we have housing above this. So there's a reason why I haven't just demolished everything. We're actually using this land for now. But by doing this, all we have to do now is just have another couple of layers, again, all the way to the outside. And I can have 3 full layers like this. And then we do that pattern. So 1, 2, this is going to be our pillar there. Go over 4, go over 4, go over 4, etc., so on and so forth. So we raise this up. And now this is where this starts intersecting some of this land right here that we maybe don't want to mess with too much, but I am going to go ahead and just have like that. So then we'll go ahead and do this, go ahead and do this, and then that right here, you take a look here, 3 in between, 3 in between, everything here will be supported unless I've done something incredibly, horribly wrong. Everything will be supported, nothing should disappear. And it's all going to be irrigated on this level because the land above it is irrigated. So hopefully this makes sense. I honestly don't really know how else to try and explain stuff. I'm sincerely trying my best here, but we are going to need to let them get started with this. Obviously it's going to take some time because each one of these does require dynamite, and it requires extract, and it requires 6 planks. The planks are going to have more construction on those happening. I did take out one of these lumber mills so we could have this connection in place here. So this will be another one of those projects that's going to go on in the background. You can see and hear some sort of something happening that I actually don't know where they've detonated yet, so maybe we should keep an eye on this. But, oh, good, they did there. So we'll have to have some sort of way for them to get into this. And I guess that was a mistake on my part, not having that ready to go. Alright, think on the fly, think on the fly. This right here is... Oh, I didn't click on that. Okay, they're blasting there. They're blasting there. Okay. So this right here, now that that's taken care of, I'm going to go ahead and take this out. This, for right now, is going to be a ladder. That's going to allow them to get down. Take this back. Then, of course, in order for them to actually, do anything in here, they're going to have access with pathing, which we'll have to come and monitor at some point. But that's going to keep them busy for a while. What else have we accomplished in that time? Well, they're still working on building this, making some very nice progress. Obviously, this isn't going to be in use for the next couple of cycles, but just a good thing for them to have access to there. Housing-wise, we're still looking good. They're obviously going to take their sweet time doing that. We should, based on the amount of stuff we lay down, we should have enough extract. Dynamite, not so much, but it is being used at this exact moment to do all of this stuff. So if we give them a little bit more of a fighting chance to have access to things like, say, some dynamite storage right there, and then a little tank for extract right here. I know it's not the closest thing ever, but it's closer than coming all the way over to this mess to deal with that. We do have all of our workers working, I guess, as best as they can. These aren't working here because, of course, they're not. Stuff's going well here, going well here. They actually have just about finished getting all of these ruins out. We just have 30 here, which I guess I can go ahead and have them make their way up there. Let's make that a priority. And then, friends, we can actually continue building all of these things all the way around this corner until we get to here. That is exciting. It's very good stuff. Which I guess gives me a good reason to talk about the terraforming. We do have the science to unlock the dirt excavator. It's 100 treated planks, which we haven't been making any because I've had that thing turned off. But instead of blowing up the reservoir with dynamite, people have said that, hey, you should put in a dirt excavator and let that, well, excavate for you. And I do like that idea. I just don't think it's a tremendously pressing issue at this time. But we will get there. We'll be for boom over here. Get a little bit more storage. Again, we have not messed with anything on this side, so that should not impact these guys whatsoever. Taking a look at our tunnel system here. I guess I have the path going in the wrong area. Well, we'll give them whatever help they can have to take care of that. Remember that once all of this is blasted out, assuming I did all my math correctly, we will be able to go ahead and take all of these supports out and then use dynamite, which will, of course, require the double. I guess I can go ahead and research that. Shouldn't be an issue. Ah, the flooding. Yes. But it's temporary, and now the flooding's gone. And we have this wider space at the end to facilitate all of that as well. How are we looking on power? Tremendously good, actually. I'm going to go ahead and turn this centrifuge on. I think we're fine that way, and I guess I need to turn the wood workshop on. That will take some beavers out of the builder's hut, which is fine. We don't need those going at turbo speed anyway. I think that's probably okay. I'm also not pumping at full strength yet because, well, we don't really need to. Everything else just seems to be working pretty fantastically well. So, I figured what would be a smart thing to do, again, I talked a little bit at the start of the episode about trying to time-lapse more. I'm going to have them time-lapse the rest of this blasting out the tunnel. It might take a little bit longer than either of us, you or me, would like to happen, but I do think it is worthwhile to try and get stuff done expeditiously when we can. And then, once they're done with that, then we'll talk about putting in all of the other dynamite and all that fun stuff. Alright, so that took a little longer than I thought. I'm glad I time-lapsed it. But we now have this first section ready to go, and we peel this back out. You will notice that everything up here is still intact. Well, we also haven't removed the platforms yet. I was going to during the time-lapse if you caught that, but I want to show you what happens when I now look at this. This is all it thinks it's going to delete. And it turns out what happened was I made a little bit of an error in judgment for the placement of our pillars. You see that red on the edge here. What's going to need to happen is that is going to need to be left in place until I have some other method of fixing my wrongs here. This entire first thing I can absolutely get rid of. But as soon as I make that second thing go away, then something disappears that causes that lodge to go away. So let's just go ahead and get rid of those. No problems. Absolutely nothing is wrong. So I guess because of the gaps between here and here, and then this on this side, there's nothing that's going to support this, this, and this. Now, I did think originally that was going to be a problem, and I thought I had kind of accounted for it, but apparently not. So here's what's going to have to happen is for right now, those couple spots, I guess I will have to leave these back in place. Yes, I know I literally just got rid of them, but I'm going to leave these in place just to keep the peace. And everything else, I'm pretty sure that I've done this correctly so that everything else can be removed. So we will take a look-see. Okay, I see stuff going away that shouldn't be going away. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay, this brazier would be going away once that is removed. That is fine. This is holding up one of these. I have to make absolutely sure that nothing of extreme consequence is going to disappear. The breeding pods, I think, because this will no longer be supported, will end up going away, but okay, so that complicates things. Let's not go that far over. Let's not go that far over. Let's just try to focus on good. As soon as it adds stuff that is not planks, we know we're in some deep stuff. Okay, I have to have these two. I have to have these built before we can get rid of anything else. So I'll let them do that. I know. Sorry to, do a little bit of a false start there, but it's important that I get this right. Or as right as I can. Until we see nothing but planks, everything is fine. So this is good. All those go away. We get 770 planks back. Tremendous. Absolutely fantastic. Because you know what comes next. That's right, friends. The double dynamite that we have researched, and we only have 6 of, but that all can go in place anywhere in here that it will fit. Absolutely anywhere. So, that's going to all go away. It's going to be blasted out beautifully. I will, of course, have to have a path for this. That's going to take some time. So we're going to leave that alone. We'll fix a little bit of this before, but I wanted to, today, before we're done with this episode, start planting some trees down here. Because one, trees take a really long time to grow, and this is going to forever be growing trees. Two, we can get more space for planting crops up here. And three, I just wanted to do it. So, while they're working on that, they're still making progress over here, albeit very slowly. I did pause these 2 scavenger flags because this area no longer has anything to scavenge, and that means this scrap metal does not need to be here. So that can go away. We do have a single beaver working here, and yes, this will be gone before too long. Fortunately, though, we are not really hard up for metal yet. We are also kind of out of storage for it. But that does mean that soon, we have the science actually to go ahead and do this. But soon we will have to put the efficient mine in. I'm going to go ahead and unlock it. So that can be something that they will work toward, and I will have this face this way. But this is going to be a minimum priority construction. And then we'll just put it on regular scrap metal for now because well, you know, we actually do have extract, but a lot of that extract is going to be gone just as soon as we start, you know, putting all the dynamite in here. So, other stuff we can do to aid that process along. First of all, have somebody in the explosives factory because we're a little bit short-handed. We can take care of that. Food-wise, things are looking tremendous. I'm going to pause food factories because, again, we have 1,200 of these guys. Everything's fine. I'm also going to pause one of the lumber mills because, again, we have 700 something planks that we just got back from all this. I think they probably picked most of them back up. But we can do what we can do, and that's all that we can do. That even makes sense. That is set, ready to go. That's good. We're still making treated planks. That was something we always had to do to build this. This, of course, is not a huge priority. All these levee blocks are ahead of priority of this. But as it stands right now, we do not have a need for too much more metal. We've already built the bad water discharge. Everything is looking pretty good, folks. So just taking a quick look at my notes for this episode, it seems like we haven't solved everything that I said we're going to solve, but we have at least worked on it a little bit. And I think, okay, well, there's one more thing that we haven't done, but it hasn't been relevant because we've had bad tides. The simplest solution to, you know, this being non-irrigated, when we actually need this to be irrigated, is just going to be to put in a fluid dump right here and just have it be filled. We have tons of water. It's totally fine. But it's a bad tide, so it doesn't matter. So we're not going to mess with that yet, but just know that I am aware of that, and we're going to be working with that in due time. For now, though, we just have to have those guys finish with that, which is going to mean it's going to make sense for us to put in another explosives factory. Where will we do that? That is a very good question, because I also said that we probably needed to put in a piece of dynamite here. It doesn't seem like that's the case, actually. It's flowing quite nicely. So the best thing for us to do is going to be to just pick a spot where the nether explosives factory will fit, just shove it in there, be done with it. This is for treated planks. I can't take that away. This engine is currently... This is actually underpowered for all this stuff, so we probably want to take a look at all this. No, that's actually pretty even. See, I don't really have a great place to put another one of these things. Gear storage here is fine. We definitely need to have some more storage for the bad water and the extract, but that is not something that is currently going to be in the cards. So here's what I'm going to do. Well, first of all, I never rebuilt another one of these smelters. We take a look at our workplaces here. There is just the single smelter, so I can't take this guy away. I was thinking about doing that, but I realized I never put the second one back in. The only other place that really would make even a tiny bit of sense would be to take this, since this is already paused, take this industrial lumber mill out and put a smelter right here. Or not a smelter, explosives factory right here. It's still in the same general environs as everything else. It should probably be okay. I'm just, for lack of something better to do with it right now, and we're continuing to make this better, but for right now, it's going to make the most sense for us to go ahead and do that. In fact, I'm going to Just going to go ahead and gently coax all of this out of here so we don't have to worry about stuff getting stuck. I'm just going to pop this in here. That is obviously going to be finished slowly if I don't prioritize it, so that's fine. This is prioritized. This one, once it's built, will also be prioritized. And then at that point, friends, it's going to be time for another time lapse while they take care of this. And at which point we will end the episode after that. So hopefully still around the same general length that people are expecting, but with a lot of stuff sped up, so we have the capacity to, you know, actually enjoy watching stuff and not worry about it taking so long. So right now you're seeing them time-lapse putting in all of this double dynamite explosive stuff, and then I will set it off at the very end so we can all enjoy the fireworks, so to speak. Then we will plant a bunch of trees, and then that's going to be all she wrote for this episode. All right, friends, everything is finally back in place. And I did take the liberty to go ahead and remove one of these because I figured that was going to be necessary. We're going to end up replacing this with actual dirt at some point. But for right now, all we have left to do is hit that B for boom and see what happens. That was glorious. I love it so much. So I'm not going to feel bad about hitting shift backspace on these piles of planks. It's only 15 of them. Now it's only 20 of them. That's totally fine. But now we have all of this space right here that we can use to grow some more trees. And it's perfectly irrigated, and it will always be irrigated. I love this so much. I love it with my entire heart. And the forester is right here. Man, I love it when a plan comes together. Let's just peel this back one layer at a time. Click on the ladder first. Okay, so that's where we're going to come in. Obviously, the forester does not need to be able to access everything via a path, but they do have to be able to get down there. So, just for right now, because this is where we're at, I'm going to put in these ladders, and then we're going to plant oak trees all throughout this whole thing. Should have no issues really reaching that. But the range issue we're not going to know too much about until the ladder's put in place. If it doesn't reach everything, then that's just how it is. It's going to get fixed eventually. But I'm just waiting with bated breath to see how much range we're going to get out of this guy. Leave this up and running here. But yeah, this, okay, maybe I should have had this be like one step closer here. It's not that big of a deal. I'm not completely opposed to these being, okay, so that's what it's going to reach. Cool. I'm not completely opposed to these 2 bits of land that were going to going away, because we are going to have space for ladders to go down and tubes and all that other stuff. So we will see. We will see what happens. But for right now, we can plant trees. We also have range mostly to cut stuff. That's probably fine. And we can continue reworking, continue expanding this, but it's a very exciting moment to finally see some trees get planted below the ground, perfectly irrigated forever with absolutely no problems. And in the background, of course, they're working on all this stuff. We are starting to see a little bit of a decline in water stores, but don't worry, we still have 57 days worth left. So that's fine. Probably should have done a little bit more with the well-being, but all things considered, we're looking really good, folks. Looking really, 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 really good. So that is where we're going to leave it today. I really appreciate your support, especially Beard Boosters, directly subsidizing the channel and myself, making it possible to continue doing all of our fabulous beaver fun and take care of the stuff that I have to take care of as a functional, quote-unquote, functional adult in modern society without having to worry about stopping to do videos so I can go find a second, third, fourth job, whatever. I truly am thankful. I mean it. I genuinely do. I care about each and every one of you. Whatever it is you're doing with the rest of your day, please stay safe, have fun, and we will see you again very, very soon for more of this series. We're going to 3 times a week starting next week because tomorrow is the finale for the Folktales series that we've been having a tremendous amount of fun with. Episode 50 of that one. So, again, we'll see you in the next one for this series on Saturday. But until then, enjoy the other videos, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.